It's my life. Lazy. It's my life. I got dirty. It's my life.
Good morning. You're watching the New York 1 Railroad and Maniac Report.
Morning, New York. We've got delays on the QL 2 and 3 lines and unsubstantiated Maniac Harry sightings downtown. If you work near the Battery, you might want to call in sick today.
Remember, Harry hasn't taken any victims since killing 4 NYU students 2 weeks ago in Washington Square Park, leading to Senator McCafferty's statement.
Of course, my thoughts and prayers are with the families of the victims, but you have to ask yourself what 4 young women were doing out at that hour in the first place.
I guess he left his Southern charm behind in Kentucky, Susan.
Quick reminder of the mayor's office's Harry safety tips. Stay indoors when possible, be aware of your surroundings, and if you see something, scream something. Stay safe, the slasher way.
Breaking news from the mayor's office that Maniac Harry has taken over the new automated train on its launch day. Find out tonight as we take comments from the mayor's very own Maniac Task Force Director, tonight at 9. Welcome back to Collect Them All or Die Trying, the Spoiler Rooms, Comic Cliff Notes. And we're back with Maniac of New York Part 3, All Aboard. And we open up this issue with a flashback of Zelda's past, giving us some backstory to Zelda's rough and troubled past on the Force. It shows Zelda's ex-partner Nick, who shot a teenager that he claims came at him with a gun. But Zelda knows for a fact that this teenager never had a gun. And Nick, he's asking Zelda to back him up on the current situation. Basically lied for him that the kid did have a gun and came at him. But Zelda, she refuses. Zelda tells Nick no, she won't back him on this situation. And this is the moment Zelda's life flipped upside down. And the day she chooses to do the right thing and when everything goes wrong. This is the moment that leads up to the present. Then we transition to the present moment with Gina and Zelda ready to jump onto the death train, which is currently in motion headed in their direction. And Zelda wants to give Gina some last minute mind-blowing advice, which is to make it a good jump just as soon as she hears those brakes squeal and to not die before Harry gets a chance to kill them. Gina, she's just optimistic. She's just hoping that there's still people alive on this death train. And if there are, that they can hold on just a little bit longer. Meanwhile, on the death train, Gabriella Acosta and the 2 children are cornered by Harry. As soon as Harry goes in for the kill, the brakes kick in hard, causing Harry to stumble and fall, giving Acosta and the children a moment to escape Harry's grasp and become another statistic or a number on Harry's kill count. And Jordan is saved by Gabriella from falling out of the doors of a speeding train. Not even Gabriella would have known that today she would become a hero as she grabs the children and races to the next train, with Harry hot in pursuit. As they are running past mounds of bodies, Gabriella does the classic horror movie trope and trips, falling to the ground as she screams for the children to keep running and not wait for her. But the kids refuse to leave Gabriella behind, and I guess the heroics of Gabriella has rubbed off on Lena and Jordan, as the train service announcement notifies them that they're on 81st Street and the Museum of Natural History, and the next stop is 86th Street. As Gabriella is preparing herself in horror for Harry to butcher her, she notices the hesitation by Harry, who is distracted by this announcement. And I think he's distracted for the reasons that Harry is hesitating because he's well aware that he's entering the Harry-free safe zones around 81st Street and Central Park West. Now, we have yet to discover the reasons why Harry hesitates, avoids, or just completely shuts down when he's entering this area of the city. Nonetheless, this gives Gabriella another split second to make a getaway as Gabriella grabs the kids and continues their sprint to the next train car. And when Harry notices them getting away again, he gives in to a bit of rage, like he's upset with himself that he has to sit and wait and avoid killing anybody while he's in this area. And in this bit of rage, Harry takes a couple of swings at the nearest pole with his bloody machete. I mean, seriously, all this guy needs is a punching bag and a therapist. We finally get back to Zelda and Gina, who managed to get on the death train. And to no surprise, nobody's left alive. And Zelda, she's being a little bit more optimistic this time around because she states if there is anybody alive, they're gonna die right along with them. And Gina, she's a little confused to the reasons why everybody in the city just gives up. And I myself is like, well, maybe it's the high prices and the cost of living, Gina. Wake up. Zelda, she lights up to have her last smoke as Gina tells her that you're not allowed to smoke on the train. And I'm with Zelda on this one. I don't really think the passengers on the train are going to complain about the cigarette. As Zelda asks Gina, why isn't she screaming? And I feel you, Gina. I'm screaming too. On the inside. As Gina and Zelda move casually to the next car, Gina confesses to Zelda that she did some digging and research on Zelda before she called her and seeked her out. And Gina, she's well aware that Zelda testified against her ex-partner and put him in jail, and that Nick hung himself due to the results. And Gina thinks that this is the reason Zelda cheaters on the edge of death, other than the fact that she's currently on the death train alongside each other. But Zelda covers the truth with humor as she chokes it up to just the fact that two light-armed, poorly trained women can't take down a serial-killing zombie freak. As Zelda takes a chug from her flask, confessing that her father always said she dies sad and lonely. Now, before Gina can say a word, Zelda tells her not to bother with lectures and join her in a drink, as Gina grabs the flask and tucks it in her back pocket, saying that they'll finish it when they're done, assuming that they make it out of this alive. As for Harry, he sits idle on the train like he's had a hard days of work. But I strongly believe he sits idle on the train as it passes by the Harry free zones. Now, I'm dying to know why he is unable to operate or kill in this area. Or is it by choice? Or is it agreement with another party? Maybe political, like a type of deal that he struck with the mayor. Or is Harry a robot or a brainwashed individual that's programmed to stay clear of this area? I'm so interested in finding out how this unfolds and how this gets revealed. But as soon as the train passes this area, Harry gets up and proceeds like a normal serial killer would. And then the train comes to a stop at 96th Street, and New York residents tirelessly wait for the new automated train, frustrated with the announcements that the train is out of service. And they should be happy, as New York residents notice Harry standing at the doors waiting for them to open. Meanwhile, Lena does the same, asking if all those people will help them, and Gabriella knows better. And it's not that the people can't help, it's that they won't. She just doesn't know how to tell this to Lena. No one cares, the city will go on no matter what happens inside it. People will also take a moment to think, glad that's not me, but half won't even notice, and Gabriella takes the children's hand and pushes forward. Then back with Gina and Zelda, which I can't tell if they're anxious or disappointed that they haven't ran into Harry yet, but they have much doubt circulating in Gina's head about building to this very moment and not having what it takes. But Zelda always knew that her life was leading to nothing. As the sound of an opening door triggers the fear and anxiety in Gina as she rapidly turns around and fires off a shot, almost hitting Gabriella as she enters the car with the two children. And Zelda, she snatches the gun out of her hands like, what are you doing? Harry's work for him? As Zelda's regretting hard giving Gina the flask. And they are all unaware that the gunshot has alerted Harry to their presence, and Gabriella is relieved that the police are finally here. Zelda confirms that they're with the mayor's office Maniac Task Force, and to no surprise, Gabriella confirms that they're the only survivors out of the entire train, just 3 survivors. Now, they all had the same game plan, which was to head to the back of the train and jump off, as Gabriella gives praise to the kids for being brave, and they will be okay. Harry's machete gets driven through her back and out her chest. Poor Gabriella. She almost made it. I had high hopes for Gabriella. I really did. Lena and Jordan go running and screaming in fear as Gina and Zelda watch the death of Gabriella in shock and awe as Harry raises his bloody machete that he just pulled and ripped through the front and back of Gabriella. And Zelda asks Gina what do they do, but Gina, she can't move, she can't speak, she's just frozen in fear. And Zelda, she screams Gina's name in a failed attempt to snap Gina out of the shock. And Harry may just score another no-hitter and kill everyone on the death train. To be continued. And that concludes the Maniac of New York issue 3, All Aboard. And tell me what you guys think. Was it a smart idea for them to jump on the death train? They certainly seem determined to end Maniac Harry's rampage of terror. But what chance do they have against the unkillable, mindless force of evil, a mindless machine of death, if you ask me? And it looks like Harry got the upper hand on the train's only survivors. Will there be anyone left to save other than themselves? Thank you for watching. And don't forget, like, subscribe, and share to support this channel. And don't forget to check out the links in the descriptions to follow me on Instagram and check out Coffee and a Comic to get your hands on new and back issue comics or for any other comic you might see right here on this channel. Also, check out how you can save 15% on your next order. So go ahead, spoil yourself. Peace, and I'll see you in the comments.
It's my life.